Okay, now this chart basically talks about the four areas of anyone's life. Okay, one which is the open area, blind area, the secret or the hidden area, and the unknown area. Okay? Okay? Now, it's a good window because it kind of tells us the four areas of our lives. For example, known by others, known by self. Things I know about myself, and others also know about the same thing about me, right? That's an open area. Everybody knows I'm married to Vicky. You understand? Everybody knows that I have 3 children. Okay, that's an open area of me as far as my leadership is concerned. Do you see that? You know, I know, my wife knows, my children knows, right? Things that others know, but I do not know. You understand? Things that others can see in my life, but I cannot see about my life. Those are called the blind areas. Can you think of an example for that?
Well, I've known some people who've been very proud. They see a lot pride is very blind. So some people are just oozing with pride, but they have no idea.
They have no idea. They are always talking about themselves. And they really think they're humble. They're very proud of their humility. So it could be a blind spot. Others can see that, but they are not able to see it for themselves. Like I gave an example of my own life, right? When you're joking around, and when joking is a part of your pastime culture, you'll end up hurting people. And you think it's normal, unless someone comes to you and say, hey, you know what, I think you're joking a little too much. You need to sort of be careful how you say this because people are getting hurt. Right? Oh, I never saw that. So thank you very much for saying that. It's a sign of maturity. Oh no, I never do that. Is either a blind spot or ego. Did you see what? Are you understanding what I'm saying? The first area is very clear. I know, everybody else knows about my life. Known by others, unknown to self is the blind spot. Then people do not know this about me, but I know this about me. Is my secrets. Is my secrets. You understand? It's the hidden area. Others do not know, but I know about my life. We sometimes have many secrets. We don't want anyone to know about our secrets, right? And those are the hidden areas, right? Then there are things that are unknown by others and unknown by self. Those are mysterious areas. You understand? It's just, I don't know why I do this. Mystery or mysterious areas. Okay? It's something that probably is deeply spiritual or deeply psychological, or I don't know why this is happening in our marriage, for example. I don't know why this is happening in my life. I don't know why I always land up doing this. Others cannot see it, I cannot see it. Right? And oftentimes we need a revelation here. You understand? Here, and now I'm adding my own interpretation to this chart right now, okay? So here oftentimes you need revelation to help you. Like I remember a friend of mine, actually they don't mind their names being used because they say it openly in their teachings. Early on in their marriage, they had tough times. They really had a very hard time, being married together with one another. And it was in Khandala, in some YWAM retreat, that God began to minister to them, both of them. There was some European guy who was praying prophetically and things like that. And when he was praying, suddenly Brian realized that much of what he is actually unknown to him, is a lovely man, but much of what was unknown to him, God was surfacing it because it comes from his Catholic roots. I'm not saying Catholics are bad, I'm just saying his whole mentality that I will be more accepted by Christ if I work a little longer for him. You know, because Catholics believe in earning your salvation. I have to burn candles, I have to do my rosary, I have to perform, I have to do good things, right? And a lot of that was leading him away from his family times. And that came as a revelation that you don't have to do these things to allow God to love you more. And from then he says how his life changed. So you need a revelation, you need a breakthrough from God. Sometimes you don't know. Moses is another example. You know, Moses had it all. I mean, the guy got miraculously rescued, miraculously found in the river Nile, raised up in the best of the best places in Egypt, studied in the University of Egypt, raised up eating the healthiest food, smartest libraries was something that he was accessing, and yet he was running away from life, right? Running away from himself, because his problem was identity. He did not know who he was. He knew he was a Hebrew, raised up in Egyptian context, and he was trying to help the Hebrew slaves, but this ordinary, cheap, a citizen who doesn't have any rights, slaves in that context had absolutely no rights. That guy has the guts to look up to Moses and say, who are you to tell me what you're telling me? Who made you the ruler over us? Are you going to kill me like you killed the other guy yesterday? And at this, the Bible says Moses ran. I believe he ran because he just didn't know who he was. Of course, the Bible says he ran because he was also afraid of Pharaoh, because news of his murder went around and Pharaoh was looking to kill him, right? And how did Moses, you know, that whole mysterious, for 40 years, he was struggling with his identity. And even when he met with God in the burning bush, what happened to him? He found himself there. You know the first question he asks God in the burning bush experience? Does anybody know? The first thing Moses asks God is, who am I? Who am I? The next question he asks God is, who are you? You know, I have a whole sermon actually from that passage. Who am I? Who are you? Right? There was a revelation given to him about himself, right? We need that. In the secret hidden area, we need to learn to be humble and open. Humility and transparency. Walk in openness, right? At least with a close friend, you know. Here, you know, you need to ask people, you know. Look here. It says, here tell, be open about your secrets. At least there should be one person in this world that should know everything about you. It is very helpful. So that you're accountable to them, right? Here you are actually asking, okay, or you're desiring for change. You want to actively, proactively listen to people. You're listening to what people say. Sometimes you don't need to ask. People will just tell you. You're listening to them. Okay? Give importance to feedback that you receive. If they agree with you, you like their feedback. If they don't agree with you, you don't like their feedback. That's not the kind of leadership we want to be. You understand? A heart of a leader should be running after all these things. The heart of a leader should be, first of all, soft towards people so that I'm listening to what people are saying. The goal of this is to reduce the blind spots of my life. Imagine if this slowly disappears. You understand? If this line slowly disappears, and you know, your open area is becoming bigger. Do you see what I'm saying? The goal is to reduce your blind spots and increase your awareness. You're aware of this, you're not aware of this, right? You're increasing your self-awareness, okay? And reduce the blind spots. This will make you a great leader, okay? And even here, you try to, push, even this one, you try to draw a line like this so that your open area is becoming big. And when you push this, automatically you're reducing your unknown areas. There'll always be some blind spots in our lives. There'll be mysterious areas in our lives. And that's why we need God. We need God, we need people. Do you see that? We need God and we need people who are frank with us. Amen? Here we need ourselves. We need ourselves to be humble and open with others. Okay? When I consciously work towards increasing my leadership capacity, I'm saying, God, I want my life to be like a free bird. I want to lead with freedom. You can never lead with freedom if you have too many blind spots and too many secrets. See, in this you have little or no control. You need the favor of God here. You need a breakthrough from God. But you have a lot of control on these two quadrants of your life. Do you see what I'm saying? And if our desire is, Lord, I really want to be a leader that is walking in a way where I'm able to express myself, fully with emotions that are controlled, where I'm leading from the bottom of my heart, where I'm leading from the soul of my spirit, from the very gut, from my life, from my being, then it becomes very essential that we work on allowing people to speak into our lives and listening to them. Or sometimes even asking them, did I sound too arrogant on the stage? In the communication class, I've never taken a communication class, but I was told in the communication class, you come up and you present a talk, and they record something like this, right? After you finish your 15 minutes presentation, everybody watches what you said. And it's hilarious because there are a lot of things you don't know that you're doing. But once you begin to sit there and watch it on screen, you're seeing that constantly you're doing this, or you're repeating words like and like that, or you begin to see how many things you say and you're not even aware of that. One of the things I've become aware is I say, are you with me? That's my repeated word, are you with me? I didn't know that until Vicky told me, are you with me? So it's only when you put yourself on a screen and then see as an objective person and you see yourself on the screen, you begin to notice what you did not notice before. That is what happens when others are seeing you like a video. You cannot see yourself, right? Others are seeing you. So they are in a better place to judge you. Now when I use the word judge, I'm using it loosely. They are in a better place to tell you, brother, I think you're speaking too fast. Or brother, I think your joke's a little too personal. Or brother, I think, be careful about this because I've seen you many times do this. I remember once I preached in the Methodist church in Pune. They have a pulpit exactly like this, about this size. You just get in and you're like, so they gave me 20 minutes, right? And I had my tie, my coat, and I'm preaching. And when I preach, I shake a lot, right? So I'm preaching away, 20 minutes dot, I finished my sermon. And there's a man in Pune, a well-wisher of our family. He really loves the Lord. In fact, we've had him come and teach on evangelism in YWAM about 2-3 years ago. And so he came to me and he said, Aldrin, can I give you some feedback? He said, if you're ready, I want to give you some feedback. Now, he waited until all the coffee, fellowship, everything was over. He was waiting to talk to me. And then we sat down and I said, you know what, I used to teach homiletics in a seminary, so I want to give you my feedback. And he said, you did absolutely excellent. I felt so good about it, right? He said, your exegesis were accurate, your progression was accurate, your points were great, and you kept the time. Great, everything was wonderful. But he said, there's one thing that you need to improve. I said, sure, let me know. He said, you see, you're in a pulpit, right? It's like a puppet show. He said, when you're behind a pulpit, people don't see your entire body. People only see this much of your body. So if you didn't have a pulpit, it's okay to shake. You understand? It's okay to shake and move around. But when you're in a pulpit, unfortunately, you have to be still and just shake your head. You understand? Because you're distracting concentration, because you're shaking so much on the pulpit that it looks funny because only half your body is shaking like this. You understand? And he was so polite, he was so nice and saying, he said, so your message was great, but you were doing a little over shaking, which is not a problem. I don't think Methodist has a problem with that. The only thing is people are getting distracted. So here, when you're in a pulpit, only you can you make sure your eye contact is with everyone, but you don't have to do this. You don't have. The whole pulpit is shaking. The noise is coming out. So many things happening there, you know. So he said, just keep that in mind. So it was my blind spot. He saw it, and he told me. I didn't ask him. He just came and told me, and I heard, I listened. So now from then onwards, every time I speak in an enclosed pulpit, I do my best to make sure that my face, my eyes are connecting with people, but not my body, right? If I'm open, sort of a microphone with a hand, that's not a problem. I just move back and forth. You see, do you get a hang of this window here? Do you think it's helpful? Self-awareness, right? I think you don't have to share everything with everyone. But what I'm trying to say is live a clear, like one of the things YWAMers always talk about is have a clear conscience, right? Now, clear conscience doesn't mean I go around telling things that people don't need to hear. Do you see that? But if I think what this chart says, if I want to walk in freedom, if I want to walk in liberty, then I cannot walk with secrets that the community are supposed to know about. Like Floyd McLaren talks about this in a book that he wrote. I forget which book. He was leading the Amsterdam base those days, and many years ago. They were tight on a budget, like we are always. And he was a base leader. And if you know, he's 6'4" or 6'5", tall guy. And he was so hungry one night. I believe he went to the kitchen, and the guideline is you cannot do that. You have to, because there's limited things. So he went into the kitchen and he actually opened up the fridge and drank somebody else's. He was so hungry or something like that. He didn't find that in the community slot. He found somebody's personal thing and he drank that. And because he was hungry, so he said he drank that, but he felt so bad about it. And in the morning he went to that person, and also in the whole community apologized. He said, I know that person would have given me 100% permission to take that if I had asked, but it was not the time to ask. But the reason I feel apologizing is not just to say that I've taken this from something that didn't belong to me, but because somewhere in my mind I thought I'm a leader, I can do this. You understand the spirit behind that? So nobody would have known except the person who sees something reduced. But he decided, I don't want that to be a secret anymore. There are some secrets it's good to keep. In fact, there's a discipline of secrecy. Richard Foster talks about the discipline of secrecy. Let me tell you a story of David Hamilton. How many of you know or heard the word David Hamilton? Okay. David Hamilton is one of the big leaders in Youth of the Mission, very, very big leader. Now he was, his parents are Methodist missionaries, and they worked as missionaries in Bolivia. So David Hamilton grew up in South America, in Bolivia. So he speaks Spanish very fluently. He speaks English very fluently. I'm not sure of any other languages. He's been all over the world, I think at least to 175 some countries. His whole family loves the Lord, and we have gotten to know one another quite well. In fact, I had the privilege of serving him when he came when he came to Pune a couple of times. He stayed in our house actually with his family at that time. Now, David Hamilton told us a story of a song he wrote when he was a new believer in South America in Spanish. He wrote a song, and there was a revival that came into that particular place where they were living. His parents were missionaries there. And in that revival, his song became the hit song. Every revival has a song. If you know, every revival has one song that people just love to sing over and over again. And whose song was that? David Hamilton's song. And God was doing amazing things in Bolivia, through that song. People would sing that song and they would be in tears. People would sing that song, when they're doing altar call. People would sing the song when they're praising the Lord. It became like the song of revival, right? So now, many years went by, and he joined Youth of the Mission, finished his DTs in Amsterdam, became a very big leader, is going around the world with his family. And one of those trips, he's in Jerusalem, attending a congregation there, a believers' congregation. And the church is about to start, and they get the order of the service. Everything is, of course, in Hebrew, and everything is in Hebrew. Everything is there. It's very well written, sort of an order of service, and all the songs were also written. And when the song time came, they sang his song, but in Hebrew. Whose song was that? David Hamilton. So he was very curious to see, wow, how did these people come to know? And, oh man, down where the author's name is supposed to be mentioned, it's all in Hebrew, so he doesn't know Hebrew, right? So after the service, he went to someone and said, hey, this particular song, the name of the song was in English, the tune was still his. So he said, this song, the second song that we sang today, can you tell me what is this name here, please? So he was expecting David Hamilton, right? Oh, it simply says author unknown. It says author unknown. Now David wants to scream at the top of his voice, I wrote that song. It's my song. But by the time it came from South America to Jerusalem, it became author unknown. You know what David chose? He chose not to tell. He just decided to let go. And he said some things are best when you keep it a secret. Amen? Discipline of secrecy reveals a lot about your humility. Now you see that there are some, even that's a very good story to keep a secret actually. It's very tempting to tell the rest of the world. Of course, he told it later on in another context. But can you imagine, sometimes you want your name more than God's name, right? And you struggle with it. So there are places where discipline of secrecy is okay, that's a discipline we need to inculcate in our lives. However, even some of our negative things in life, we don't need to share with everyone. But you know what, if it is bothering you, if it is to do with relationships with people that you're presently dealing with, if it is something to do with community, if it is something to do within your family, find an appropriate context where undoing that, making it an open area of your life, may be very helpful and useful in your own leadership. Right? You sense that maybe I'm doing something not right, you just ask.
To the person.
Yes. Ask in a good spirit. Because, remember this paper says, ask, I added listen there. Because sometimes, even if you're not asking, some people will tell us. And many times we need to ask people, especially people we respect. just go to the person and say, hey, I've been noticing these things. It's all, let me teach you a principle that I'm still learning, but I think I've done better than before. Is always when you're dealing with sensitive issues, never sit in a posture of attacking people. Sometimes when we're angry or when our emotions are disturbed, we tend to talk fast, or we tend to, our eyes change, our hands change, and people know that we're talking out of hurt, right? One of the things you could be doing is, you can say, suppose for example, I'm you, right? What I would role play that as, I'm come to you, you're my leader, or you're my friend, or whoever that person is. I'll come to you and say, can I talk to you? And you sit down and you say, I'd like to share my heart. It really seems to me, I feel, I feel that something is not right. Maybe it's my feeling, but the other day when you did this, I felt like that. So you're not saying you made me to feel like that, or you're not saying that you did like that. You're simply saying, it seems to me that I become impatient, or I'm very sensitive to this particular phrase that you used the other day. Maybe it's about me, but this is how I feel. Is everything all right between us? Or is there something that I should be knowing that you're wondering how to communicate? Please let me know, because I really want, I'm really committed to this relationship. Do you understand?
Yes.
So asking people, learning how to do that, it's a very, very important, how do I say, thing to learn. Yeah? To say, sometimes, I remember once I sat down with my brother. I said, I really need to talk to you and your, like Jivan and Changmi. I said, I really need to talk to both of you. I said, is there something that you'd like to tell me in this particular area? Because I'm sensing that whenever we talk about this, there is some sort of tension, and I can sense it, I can feel it. So please let me know. Do you see what I'm saying? And in most cases, they will tell me graciously. That is why I admire them so much. Okay, not because they're perfect. And people have come to me as well and done the same thing. And it's important that when people come and tell you, that you also pay attention to them. Yeah. So ask people.